everyone. Well, look what we got. I was building a fence in the backyard, and neighbor came over and told me he wanted to give me his quad. He had no use for it. It's got no spark and needs other things, and so yeah, I gave him $1 for it. And he wrote out a bill of sale. He didn't even want to take $1. But I used to have one of these years ago, and yeah, it was a pretty good quad. They were indestructible just about, other than no spark. But anyway, I'll show you this thing. Well, you can see it's been sitting under the trees for a while. This is supposed to go under here. It's dirty. Needs a new battery, I'm sure. The original toolkit for it. Yeah. Cool. So they already put a new stator in it, but they put an aftermarket one in, so I'm not sure what brand it is, but some of the cheap ones, they just don't last. So they have a stator and a trigger coil, or a pulse coil, as they call it. And then they got a voltage regulator and a CDI. And other than that, it's just wiring. And I think something could go wrong up here in the switch. So, oh, and there's a new coil that came with it too. So I literally have everything but the CDI. And the CDIs are, you know, $400 or $500. So he didn't want to spend the money, and it needs other work too. But I went through it, and it's actually pretty tight. It needs like one wheel bearing. I don't know what the brake pads look like, but I mean, parts are cheap for these things. I had one years ago. This one's a 99. I had a 98, and it had about 6,000 kilometers on it. And then I rebuilt it. And when I did, I made it into a 635 cc. So they were 595 cc stock. So I went with I think it was 10.5 to 1 or 10.2 to 1 compression. So it upped the compression, and then it was 635 cc's. And then I had a lift kit on it, like just a small little bracket lift kit. And I had 285 or ITP 589 tires in 28-inch size, which at that time was the biggest tires you could get. I had ITP SS rims. This was like back in 2002. But I just remember at the time, like it was and I think I had a clutch kit in it and stuff, and you know, I'll get talking about that stuff later, but there's so many new mods that they came up with these Yamaha clutches since then that, you know, will just make it go even much better. So I don't know, I might just like put it together and leave it stock and try it out and see what I think. Or I might just make a project quad out of it and, you know, go right through it. You could make them all the way up. I think you could make them into a 10 or a 675 cc with 10.75 to 1 compression ratio. So, you know, it's not going to be a Can-Am 1000 or anything, but it's kind of cool to have something old school. Like I said, these things were totally indestructible. My friend had one, and he drove the heck out of it. I don't know how it lasted as long as it did. This one's got 7,800 kilometers on it. It needs a seat cover. Other than not running, no spark. Apparently, it doesn't need a whole lot. They just put rings and valves in it, so he says, and because it was smoking. And he did run it, but then it lost spark. So he tried taking a light bulb and putting it up against the CDI. He heard that would fix them, so like draw the moisture out of them. So maybe it's going to be like my my little McCullough there. So I'm going to try baking the CDI. I mean, what do I got to lose? It's got no spark, and everything. That's if everything else checks out. And you know, I'll still get another CDI for it, just to, if I'm out on the trail and that thing dies, I'm walking. So it's kind of cool because I'll have literally every electrical piece as a spare. to, you know, in case something breaks down. So yeah, right now it's got good compression. So these things were hard to pull over, and when I had mine, I had a snowmobile handle on it because it was just so hard. It was almost impossible to start with the recoil. It would, but it was, you had to commit because when it kicked back in, it took you in with it. So everything's kind of faded a bit, like the switches and stuff are a bit faded, but I'm gonna go and clean it all up. All the plastics, like the plastic's good. It's not cracked or nothing. It's in really good shape. So yeah, I'm not gonna do it right away, but down the road I'm gonna play around with it. I definitely don't like these bars. They gotta go. So I think I'll put a set of bars and gauges and stuff on it. These were only oil cooled. They made these from '98 to 2001, so a short run, and then they came out with the 660, which was independent suspension and liquid cooled. These are oil cooled, just an oil cooler in the front, and they have a solid swing arm. But swing arm doesn't flex and stuff as much, but they're kind of better when you're driving them fast. Like they're nice. It's nice to have that solid axle for sliding around corners and stuff like that. But there's certain situations that they kind of work better in. But yeah, if I keep it, you know, I'll throw a set of bigger tires. I don't think I'd put the lift kit in again because I remember it made my U-joints bind up too much. I didn't like that. So, but now they make, you know, up to 32-inch tires. I could probably run 30s on this thing and run skinny 30-inch tires. I mean, this thing was deadly with 28-inch, 10-inch wide tires. So I don't think I had studs in them back then. I can't remember if I did. But if I ran 9-inch wide with studs, it would go pretty good in the snow, I think. It won't be any 1000, but it'll still be fun to play with it. And they're super easy to work on, unlike the brute force, which I didn't really like working on. 2 carburetors, 2 everything. It was just, so yeah, it's gonna be fun. Like I said, I'm gonna work on my side-by-side first, and you'll see some videos on that. I got a Chinese clone side-by-side, a Rhino clone. So it's kind of cool because all the electrical parts from this just about fit on that, except for the, I think the CDI is different. Otherwise I'd be able to try it on here. So anyway, that's that, and when I start playing around, I got some other things to do, but when I start playing around with this one, I'll do some videos on it, and we'll just get it running, and then we'll take it out, and I'll probably put my GoPro on the quad and stuff, and we'll just see how it makes out. Okay, talk to you later.